My background is a little bit different because I have a wide international level of experience that I'm going to try to bring here from more a personal perspective, which is why you're seeing it from ARC rather than AXA, but I'm happy to take questions across both. But I thought I'd get some statistics up to try to point to the problem, the issue, or the statement, or the opportunity, or the challenge, whichever way you want to take it, regarding healthy aging. So today, 10,000 people will have turned 65 in America. It's a pretty stark figure when I thought about it for a few minutes. And in about the next 10 years, 1 in 5 Americans will be 65 plus. Another 5 years beyond that, there will be more people at the age of 65 and higher than there will be people less than 18. And I think a few years after that, there will be even less people less than the age of 5 in America. So that's all about the here and now. If I just give one more stat here, 2050, people above the age of 60 years old, there will be 2 billion people there on the whole planet. So there's a sizable population of people that we need to help age better. And so about 100, so this is my AXA hat coming on now. So about 100 years ago, you had a 1 in 500 chance of living to be a centenarian. And we've got this great practice inside of AXA that is led by Professor Tom Kirkwood. He's done a lot of work in this area. You can always look it up. And if we take that now, all of us here today have a better chance of hitting that number. And it's increasing. So, being a scientist and thinking about this, there are lots of theories about healthy aging, but 5:30, this is not the place to go to unpack some of the theories and the good and the bad points about them. But what I will say is, I think this is the right kind of definition. This is one of my favourite definitions, in fact, because it really brings the human factor forward rather than actually the technology-driven approach. But successful aging is defined as the ability to maintain low risk of disease or disability, high mental and physical function, and active engagement with life. There's some fantastic, really, really nice set of words in here that really describe how we should be living throughout our whole life to get to the right kind of stage where we can enjoy it later. So really we should be starting now. That's the key message. We need to think right now about, and especially for those of us who are less than 30 years old, health is just not on the agenda for most people below the age of 30. It's a distant thought, and I'll figure it out when I'm 40, 45, and it's too late then. And if we talk about comorbidities, and you know the statistics there, so we won't go through those, but this is an interesting way of looking at it. This is actually data that we took from the Disability Adjusted Life Years. It's put together by a combination of the World Health Organization and the Global Health Observatory. And there's a fantastic professor called Steve Beck who put this data together for about 10 years, worked with the WHO, and he figured out some really, really interesting information. And we extrapolated that information to figure out what kind of action, if you took it right now, will assist you later in life, and can you measure it? Can you quantify it? And that's what ARC really does. We take problems and we solve them by quantifying them using computational biology and a whole host and array of other techniques that are very much borrowed from AI. We've been doing for the last 15 years, in fact. So when I hear about AI today, by the way, I'm fascinated because it's actually built on the solid capabilities and models that we've been practicing for many years. And what this piece here really shows is that if you take that kind of action to live a disability-free life at a younger age, you have a higher chance, in fact, 1 to 2 years more of better life quality later. Let's unpack this a different way. This is actually some work we've done in AXA. You may have heard of the concept of health age. So I could be 40 years old, living inside a body of a person who is really 45 years old. And if I'm smoking a number of cigarettes a day, it has to be more than 5 or 10, doesn't really matter. But if I'm smoking, I'm drinking, I'm sleeping late, I've got bad relationships, and I'm overeating, I'm BMI is pretty bad, you can imagine that health age is going to be much higher. But there's actions that we can guide people to take, and we can quantify what those actions equate to in health age term. So simply by just reducing that health age by 2 years, there is an effect. And like I said, we can quantify that. So we took that mortality concept and we moved it over into the morbidity space. And morbidity is all about your quality of life. So those 2 years that you see there, let's go back to this example. 40 years old, that's my health age today. And if I'm 40 years old today, biological age, I'm 45 in health age. My actual morbidity age, that's the number of years I will live in optimal health, is 67. And simply by reducing it, my health age today, and working hard and reducing it to 43, getting closer to my biological age, I'll be able to live up to 9 years better life later. A 9 years better life is quantified as an example of staying out of hospital, not going to have to see the doctor. And nobody, I guess, wants to live in a way that they're going to have the latter years of their life disabled, in a wheelchair, incontinent, etc., etc. So we now, therefore, know there are actions that we can take today, and we can really work hard through our technology, through our persuasion techniques, to try to get people to form those habits today. So another example of something that we've done, and this is much more linked back into now AI techniques. This is actually some work that we did, not with Fitbit, even though I know the guys, but we did it with Fitbit data. We took the data, we looked at the longitudinal data set, and it tells you some fantastic information there about what is a healthy minute. And in fact, even on my Apple Watch, it told me today I've done about 16 minutes of decent activity. So they've worked that out for me. I don't need to don't have to worry about how many steps to count. They just they calculate that for me and they give me that figure. So that's great. But there's a world of difference we found between what a healthy minute works like from Fitbit's perspective to really what it's impacting you at a disease level. So you may get 1 minute of walking activity could be 1 minute of proper walking activity, but from a disease perspective, 1 minute is not good enough. So we worked on this and we came up with a couple of really, really clever algorithms that said you need to be doing at least X minutes worth of activity, which equates to what we call a diabetes minute. So now we can go back and start to gamify this, if you can imagine, and start telling people the activity that you think you're doing contributes towards your disease reduction. Actually, if you need to do this much, and we can give you a diabetes minute, it could be an anti-cholesterol minute, and so forth. So we can extrapolate and scale that as well. This is one of my favorite triangles. I don't know if anybody has favorite triangles. I've got 3. This is one of them. So everybody is, here listening very intently today about AI. And a number of companies I've met over the years also tell me about, we've got something that's really clever, it's cognitive. And then I ask them, are you prescribing things to your audience? And they look at me and they say, no, we're not there yet. So then I say, are you predicting things? They say, oh yeah, we're doing some of that. But you need to do all of that before you can prescribe. And really what you find out is a whole bunch of companies that claim to be doing AI are doing what we call narrow AI. They're doing computational techniques that is better for computers to do en masse than actually have 5 humans sat down doing. And I come from a world of purists. True AI means true AI. You have to be at the cognitive stage for it to really be called AI. However, it's only fair to say that a lot of companies are doing some really valuable work, but they are at the descriptive stage. So a whole bunch of work that we do is we help companies really figure out what stage are they really at, what are the techniques and methodologies they need to adopt to get up that ladder to go from descriptive to predictive to prescriptive, and then nirvana is cognitive. And I can tell you truly, I've only met 2 companies on the planet today, and I must have met over 100, 150 over the last couple of years, that are really doing cognitive AI. So, to really unpack what AI means and in the context of healthy aging, I've started a little personal crusade of my own, and I've got a team of people that are around me. I've got many collaborators now, and we're taking what we think is today a soft science, and we approach it from a clinical, blood kind of grade data science perspective. And I say blood data because as soon as you say blood data, everybody goes, "Oh wow, that must be really, really, serious," because you're taking blood and you're drawing conclusions from it. And that's what diagnostics is all about. That's my background. So we take this soft science approach that people can quantify and define effectively what is good sleep, what is a good amount of nutrition to have, and what is bad. So we look at the good and the bad, and we scale that on continuums. And then we build algorithms, and we help at a human level understand those as choices and options. And then we turn them into what action should a person take at a precision health level for that specific person based on their background and their likes and dislikes. So for me, I've heard a number of great keywords today, and everybody's, I'm sure interested in some of these, if not all of them. But the path, if I just start from the bottom, the path for actually towards great AI doesn't start from just data. I think it was our friend from Babylon who said this really well. Actually, it's the models. The power is the model. You can tweak the model, you can take data from many, many disparate areas and bring it together. So what we're doing, working really hard to quantify what is good, what is bad. We look at those models to train them over time. We've been doing this way before AI became cool. And now that AI is here, we use it to its full effect as much as we can. And then we bring measurability back to individuals and at a population level. A good example, if I can just give you very quickly to unpack it, is we're working on 160 question questionnaire with 250 data points captured to accurately predict what is the productivity and performance of an individual in their workplace. We unpack that with 12 key areas, and the numbers go on. But fundamentally, to work at the population level, you have to work at the individual level first. You have to harmonize that. So we do a lot of that, and we use solid clinical, mathematical, and data science to unpack that. And that's what I would advise everybody to go and look at first before you rely too heavily on AI. And that's when AI and machine learning can become so much more powerful for you. And the techniques and the capabilities and the methodologies that you've heard today, really enjoyed Jorge's presentation as well. He was talking about some of those techniques that we rely on as well. And then the bigger piece for me now, where my life is really focused, it's about behaviour. It's about trying to get people to not do the things that are destructive to them, that are going to really harm them later in life. Because everybody wants to eat donuts and lots of red meat. Lifestyle is another big area we're unpacking, and we're building these models that are sensitive to many areas of lifestyle you see in the slide just here. And the final piece is environment. And we're looking at the tough end of it as well. We're looking at how the genome sequencing, how the data genetics level is being affected at an environmental level, how epigenetics plays a key role here. And by bringing these kind of capabilities together into single models is really where it's starting to get interesting. Thank you.